What is up, best ones worldwide? It's the best one, DBTV here, back with a brand new basketball talk video. Free agency is right around the corner, starts tomorrow, and we got lots of content coming your way. So if you're not a best one yet already, and you're a Brooklyn Nets fan like I am, recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, because of course you already know the grind is real. And what should the Brooklyn Nets do about their upcoming restricted free agent, Cameron Johnson? So, at the trade deadline, the Brooklyn Nets made a blockbuster trade. Traded Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and multiple first-round picks unprotected. And this upcoming offseason, Cam Johnson is a restricted free agent, meaning that any team can offer him a contract, and if he accepts it, Brooklyn will have a couple days to either match the contract and keep him on the Brooklyn Nets or let him walk. And the Brooklyn Nets are going to be in a very interesting situation, and I won't be surprised if, they figure this out around, the first couple days of free agency. I feel like this is the number one goal for Sean Marks this offseason, is bringing back Cam Johnson. He's been, a very solid player on this Brooklyn Nets roster with, Mikal Bridges. In just a short time, in the 25 games that Cam Johnson played, he averaged 16.6 points per game, 4.8 rebounds a game, 2.1 assists per game, field goal percentage 46.8%, and from behind the arc, averaging 37.2%. And Cam Johnson has been, a solid, forward for this team, and also very close to the Brooklyn Nets' upcoming superstar, Mikal Bridges, who I think next season is going to have a breakout year, and I believe he's going to be an all-star next year. I think that's a lot of people's, predictions going into the new season. And it seems like the Brooklyn Nets have already made their decision about Mikal Bridges. And there's been a lot of teams in the league that have been interested in acquiring Mikal Bridges. One of those teams, the Portland Trail Blazers, who, around draft day offered their third pick, Simons, for Mikal, and the Brooklyn Nets declined that trade offer. Even after the blockbuster trade with the Phoenix Suns and the Brooklyn Nets, the Memphis Grizzlies offered 4 unprotected first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and we decided to decline that trade. So it seems like the Brooklyn Nets are still trying to compete, and they want to build a team around Mikal Bridges. And honestly, I think at first a lot of people are confused on why are the Brooklyn Nets trying to build a team around this guy when you can go into a obvious rebuild mode, draft Scoot Henderson, and build a team around him. There's a reason why the Brooklyn Nets aren't doing that, and that's because when we decided to trade James Harden, who's about to leave the Philadelphia 76ers, so the Brooklyn Nets traded all of our unprotected first-round picks to the Houston Rockets and did some pick swaps for James Harden. And the Brooklyn Nets, we do not have our own draft pick until, I believe, 2027. So it makes sense why we want to build a team around Mikal Bridges. And if we're in the Western Conference, then I would understand, to go into a full rebuild mode. But we're in the Eastern Conference, and it seems like it's still a very open conference. Besides, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, and Philadelphia 76ers, who, are starting to, decline a little bit. I think the Brooklyn Nets, still have a shot at, competing, at fighting, and I feel like, we need to build the foundation. It's not about big threes anymore in this league. If you want to win a championship, it's about depth. It's about your entire, starting lineup. It's about your bench. It's about building a team around somebody, not a big three. And That's something that, we learned in the NBA Finals this year when the Denver Nuggets, won a championship. Jokic is their go-to guy, and they have solid players around him. I think that, the Brooklyn Nets are in a very interesting situation, and I feel like you need to bring back Cam Johnson. And here's why I think the Brooklyn Nets should bring him back. For starters, Mikal Bridges and him are very close. He's only 27 years old, and he's about to hit his prime, and he has expressed interest in coming back to this team. And with the bad reputation that the Brooklyn Nets had after, the big three, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, all requested trades out of Brooklyn, it really left a gross taste in, our mouths. And, really made us look bad in the league. So if you have a player that's interested in staying on your team, despite all the bullshit that happened the last couple of years, I think the Brooklyn Nets really need to consider that a pro. And there is one problem to this. There are some rebuilding teams that are interested in signing Cam Johnson to a very fat contract, which will put the Brooklyn Nets in a very interesting situation here. And one of those teams that have come up in, these reports are the Detroit Pistons, one of, the younger teams in the Eastern Conference. And they're looking to sign Cam Johnson for 4 years, $100 million. $25 million per season for Cam Johnson. And the Brooklyn Nets are going to be in a very interesting situation here because they will have the option to match it. Or Cam Johnson, could sign with the Brooklyn Nets, re-sign a 4-year, $84 million contract. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Cam Johnson has expressed interest in coming back to Brooklyn. It's a good thing that him and Mikal Bridges have a good relationship. And I think that, our coach has very good, I feel like he's really good in our system. And I think that, we can't move on yet from Cam Johnson. And I think, if you're going to build a team around Mikal Bridges, I feel like it's only smart to bring back one of his close friends. And he's a very solid, key player for this team. And one of the only players I feel like that actually showed up in, the first round against the Sixers when we got swept. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we do this offseason. Do you think we should bring back Cam Johnson? Let me know in the comment section below. It's going to get very interesting. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But I do think the Brooklyn Nets will bring him back. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a best one yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, because we have lots of videos coming out. Free agency is tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be covering a lot of Brooklyn Nets stuff throughout this free agency period. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow me on my social medias and other YouTube channels. All that down below. And of course, you already know, we are taking over. Peace.
I hope you're ready for the comeback. Steve Nash, I'm about to bring the sun back.